Title belts to Hall of Fame. Doug and Tommy carved the name. Fists of fury and hearts of gold. Every story, every fight retold. Tales of glory, laughed and cried. Tennessee warriors with hearts open wide. In the ring, on the air, veterans living without a care. On the mic they roar, on the mat they soar. Dangerous conversations, fans wanting more. Guys, kings ruling the waves. Memphis wrestling raising the stage.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dangerous Conversations with Dangerous Doug Gilbert and Tommy Wildfire Rich. Guys, welcome back. How we doing?
Good, man. Good. How y'all doing?
Man, I'm doing real good, Gene. Tommy's there on the beach. You know he's doing good. Even though it's getting cooler, it's still nice on the beach. And I just got back from vacation in somewhere in the island. So I'm doing very well myself. And I take it you're doing good, right?
Well, I thought I was. I mean, I've just been working. You guys are out on beaches and islands and all this stuff, and I'm up here selling lawnmowers. So I don't know, man. I may not be doing as good as I thought, but no, man, I'm doing good. Man, we've been getting a lot of great feedback off both the Q&As you guys did. People were really happy with those. And, of course, we had that great interview with Jerry Briscoe that came out, and people really enjoyed it as well. So, man, Dangerous Conversations is really on fire. Have you guys been hearing some good stuff from people?
Yeah, I sure have. And I'm actually going to laugh, but I'll listen to the episode going down the road and everything. And, man, there's so much more, which I'm sure there is with Tommy too, but there's you could do a month's worth of episodes just with Jerry Briscoe. You talk about, I laughed about some of that stuff he was talking about, but we went into detail on a lot of it, but a lot of it we didn't. And I know Tommy's still got a bunch more stories of Jerry's and everything, but like I said, man, that's just such a historical wrestling family that you could talk to Tommy for days about, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Briscoes, they were, they kind of like the Sounders. I mean, their family wrestled. I mean, it started with their families, the Funks, the Briscoes, the Gilberts too. Tommy did it for a minute too. Tommy was back with the Funks. And, so Doug, he comes from a wrestling family too. I mean, it's, you had the Von Erichs. I mean, there's a few, but the successful ones, I don't know that there was a lot, but the ones it was, they really were good ones.
Man, I was really, really proud of that interview. You guys did a great job. And, man, Mr. Briscoe, like you said, Doug, there's just a wealth of stories and knowledge there. So I hope we get a chance to get Mr. Briscoe back on in the future because, man, there's so much more we could ask and talk to him about. So we'll definitely try to do that down the road.
Gina, I'm sure there's a lot more, and I know you probably had a ton more questions, but me and Tommy kind of laughed. We was talking the next day, and Tommy said, man, you had a bunch of questions for him, didn't you? I said, I had nothing wrote down. I said, I just had in my head what I thought, just some things I wanted to ask. But, I mean, like I said, there's so many different things, and you're more of a write-down guy and a quiz guy, Gene, that knows everything, where I mean, I'm just in my head. I mean, I'll write down some things, but most things not and everything. But there was just certain things I wanted to ask him, and that's what I kind of asked him. And you come in, you ask him a few things you want to. But like I said, over the years and all the different things that I've seen him and his brother do, it was just a lot of, me and Tommy was laughing about that. I said, man, that just was just the start of stuff that you could ask him.
Yeah, I mean, I always sit down as a backup, just to make sure, we don't run out of questions or anything. But, man, that's when it's good. Like, we call it Dangerous Conversations. That's what you guys did. You guys were just having a conversation and, just a back and forth. And as things were being said, other things came up. And that's what this show is all about.
And you know what, Gina, I've talked with Jerry. I texted with him the next day. Then I called him and I said, man, I just want tell you how much I really appreciate you doing this and how cool it was just you talking with Tommy and Gene and myself. And he said, Doug, he said, I don't do a lot of these. He said, but man, that's the way we done it, the way we did the show. He said, now that's how I like it. Us just talking about, because he said, you know, I mean, we were just asking him, but it was just old wrestling stuff that had happened. He said that's what he really likes, not so much the newer stuff, but the old stuff. And he said he'd answer anything, but he said he had a real good time on there with us.
Well, it's cool to get on there with somebody like Jerry Briscoe that was, I mean, not only was he one of the boys, but he was in the office. He knew how that worked. He was in Georgia. I mean, he had part of that company. I didn't even know that till not long ago. I mean, he was part owner, him and his brother both. I mean, so they indulged it all. I mean, we just really scratched the surface of Jerry.
Did you know, Gene, that Jerry and Jack had points in the company in Georgia?
I had heard that in recent years. I've been learning more and more about, you know, well, everybody, but especially like the Briscoes in more recent years. And yeah, I find that very interesting because, like you said, he had points there, and then, you know, he was, you know, in the office in the WWF, and so he really had, you know, two careers almost. He had this great wrestling career, and then also from the office side of things, he had almost an entirely separate successful career.
Right, and I think if the truth ever come out, I bet they probably had a few points in the Florida territory. Don't you imagine, Tommy?
Yeah, I would think so, because they was a big part of that too. I mean, you know, Florida, Georgia. I mean, they was a who's who down in both of them areas.
Well, it was, like I say, it was definitely a fun interview, and I'm proud that, you know, you was able to make that happen, Doug, and I know that Mr. Briscoe was excited to get to talk to Tommy as well. I was hoping to get to, you know, when you were on Stories with Briscoe and Bradshaw, Doug, you know, they were both saying that they wanted to ask Doug what was going through his head the day of the big Power Pro promo. And I was gonna give him an opportunity to ask Tommy that, but, you know, we was having some technical difficulties here and there, and that never happened. So that may be what we used to get him back on the show, is say, hey man, come back on and we'll let you ask Tommy all about that if you'd like.
Oh yeah, and he will make sure we got Tommy on good this time, so we can talk back about that story about him running over Tommy.
Oh Lord, yeah.
Yeah, he was disappointed.
We all had something to drink that night.
One of those rare nights, huh, Tommy?
Sure.
Yeah, I found out I wasn't a matador.
You leave that to Tito Santana.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, before we get going, guys, let's take a moment here and let's talk about what you guys have coming up. You know, we recently talked about something I had been excited to talk to you guys about the Memphis Mafia here on the Dangerous Conversation show. And coming up, you know, this next year, it's going to be the 35-year anniversary since the Memphis Mafia came together in the USWA in Memphis. And you guys are we're bringing it back, right? We're going to have the Memphis Mafia is going to be on tour coming up soon, right?
That's exactly right, Gene. And I've had different people to call, and I told them to call me back. A lot of them after the first of the year, but we've got some stuff in February, March, I think April, May, and everything. I have to look at my book, and me and you'll have to sure promote all of these. But yeah, the Memphis Mafia, and it makes me, I laugh when different people. I used to tell Tommy, people would say, "Oh, I watched you growing up," and I think you mean you watched my dad growing up or my brother growing up. But I mean that's cool. I'd still say yeah, but. Anyway, now that you say that and you say 35 years, and the other day me and Tommy was talking about what year he broke in, and I got to think about what year I broke in, and you said that about the years that the Memphis Mafia had been going. I thought, shoot, which I told somebody the other day, I said, which it don't bother me none, age don't to me. One thing I agree with my dad on. My dad always used to tell me, son, you ain't got to worry about how old you are because age is just a number. And he's exactly right and everything, but when you start hearing these 30-year, 35-year anniversaries and stuff, you know you've been around for a minute.
You ain't lying. I mean, yeah, I didn't realize when Gene said, is it Gene? Yeah, that's Gene, right?
Well,
Hey, Greg.
Greg, Don Gary Briscoe. He called him Gene. No, I don't think he ever called him Gene. He called him Don, Greg.
Everything but Gene.
Jack. Hey, Gene said he answers everything like me and you do, Tommy.
Heck yeah, ain't nothing wrong with it.
I ain't getting stretched. I'm not going to argue with that man.
But no, you ain't kidding. But so, and started in 90, so that would be 35 years this coming up year, the 2025, right?
That's right. You know, I made a logo and sent it, and after I saw it on there, I was like, I may get told to take 35 years off there. They may not like that. But, I mean, it's an accomplishment, you know what I mean? And, you know, you guys have seen people come and go in the business, and you guys are still going strong, and I think that's something to be proud of and something to celebrate.
Oh, I think it's great, and I love that Gene.
But, hey, we talked about 2025, but, guys, before we get to 2025, December the 7th of 2024, you guys are headed to Pikeville, Kentucky to the Shelby Valley High School for some action.
Yes, sir. Going to be there, Wildfire Championship Wrestling.
Ain't it, Tommy, ain't it kind of like is it one of those like Toys for Tots deals or some kind of Christmas show or something?
It's a Christmas show.
Christmas show? Well, that'd be cool, Gene, and they always have a lot of talent up there, and like I said, Wildfire Championship Wrestling, so you know if it's got anything to do with Tommy, there's going to be a lot of talent there. I think Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton's going to be there. I think his son Kerry will be there. They've got a lot of talent. They've got the Russian Assassins are going to be there. It looks like a jam-packed night of action, so everybody ought to get out. If they're anywhere in Kentucky, ought to get up there to Pikeville and see Tommy put on a show that night.
And I'm going to tell you that I love Kentucky. The fans out, they love old school, and, you know, that's what we bring is old school wrestling. And, you know, it's just they're a great bunch of fans. Well, old school wrestling fans all over the world are great. So anybody listening, man, we love all of you.
We sure do. And, Gene, it's a family-friendly show. I mean, bring your kids out and everything. You'll have a chance for Tommy to take a picture with them, get his autograph, talk old school wrestling and everything. But like I said, they've got a great crew of guys and everything. Anybody that's in the area needs to come and watch. That's
right. December the 7th, Shelby Valley High School, Pikeville, Kentucky, Wildfire Championship Wrestling. We will have more information about that on the Facebook page, so make sure you check that out and be there. I lived in Kentucky for about a year, about 10 years ago. Beautiful country up there. I really enjoyed my time up there, so you guys are going to have fun up there.
Yeah.
That's great.
I talked to one of my friends, Gene. They said you're still wanted up there.
Yeah, they're looking for Greg and Gary up there. That's why I changed my name to Gene.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I was thinking. I think them aliases. That's what they're looking for, man.
Yeah, Mr. Briscoe blew my cover there, calling out my aliases. But February 1st, 2025, you guys are coming to Wynne, Arkansas. Going to be one of these big fan fest and a wrestling show going on, and we're going to have more information about that in the coming weeks here on Dangerous Conversations.
You ain't kidding, Gene. We sure are. But I mean, I can already tell you if all this takes place, I'm sure it will. Especially myself, Tommy, Ricky Morton, again, Jerry Lawler. It's supposed to be a who's who of Memphis Hall of Famers at this thing, which I thought that was really cool and everything. But, I mean, that'll be a great night. But like I said, we'll talk about that. I don't want to get a little bit closer. But I was just, like I said, when people calls me and starts talking about things like this, and me and Tommy talk about it, I kind of get a little bit excited about it because I like to see everybody, and you know what? And those deals are a cool deal. We all kind of get to hang out and talk and tell some old stories and just have a good time.
Well, and that is. I mean, that's a big part too. You know, used to it was all just about going to the wrestling and entertaining the wrestling fans, and now. That we're about like dinosaurs, especially me now. You know, it's always good to go and see some of the other guys that, you know, was on that road, on that journey with us, and we're still alive and kicking. Man, we're very blessed.
And here's the thing, after Tommy says that, Gene, is any time that you get the names like Tommy and Ricky and Lawler and I say those guys and knock on wood, I got to come up after them So knock on wood, I'm not the youngest of them anymore, but I'm kind of the youngest of that bunch. But you know what's so cool to me about that is if you say any of those names and put all the names together, you're going to get a lot of old school wrestling fans. And that's when me and Tommy, I think, enjoy the most, when you get everybody most that comes out are old school wrestling fans that's bringing their kids and grandkids, and we get to meet the fans over again, plus their kids, plus their grandkids. That's, Gene, you don't know how cool of a deal that is for all of us. I mean, not just me and Tommy. I'm talking about Ricky Morton, King, all of us. I mean, that's a cool deal when you start getting to meet the different generations.
And you know, I mean, there ain't a lot of guys that had the longevity we've had either. I mean, we're so blessed. You know, I mean, there's a crew. You know, there's a handful of us left, and you know, I mean, I've been doing it dang near 50 years now, and just for folks still to remember me that's still alive, that's a blessing, man. You know, so you know, we're very blessed.
Absolutely. And there's going to be another show we're going to have news on here soon. It's going to be coming up on February the 8th. So stick around. We're going to talk about that in the weeks to come as well. But there's one more big event I want to talk about real quick, guys, before we get into today's topic. May the 3rd, the Big Don's going to come home to the former ECW Arena, which is now the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You guys are going to be part of the big TWA one and done event. You guys are going to be at the RassleCon up there, going back to Philadelphia. How excited are you guys for this?
Oh man, I'm telling you, hey, that's probably one of the best. You know, that I had the most fun with. The Don gimmick was, you know, I mean, just getting up there, because them northern folks sure didn't like no cornbread, boy. You know, hollering he was full-blooded, I tell you. You know, so to go up there, that was easy heat to get. You know what I'm saying? So it's always fun to go back. I mean, and you know, I was there not long ago. They did a show. We was up there, and the FBI, the full-blooded Italians, they still strong.
And Gene, it really be cool for me. And the funny thing is, it's what's it called? WrestleCon, is that what he's calling it?
Yeah,
Gene, I think I mean the signing here today. Mm-hmm. It's like 12 to 3:30, and then like 6 or 7 the show starts. But it's a guy named Joel Goodhart, and I was privileged enough to be on like a couple of the last cards that he ever run, and with my brother. And actually, Tommy was on like either the first or second show in the main event that he ever run. And didn't I tell you, Gene or Tommy, one who it was? I told one of y'all who Tommy worked with. It was Slater, and I think it was Tommy against Big Slater with.
That was me. You sure did, because I didn't remember. You asked me, and I remember working for Joel, but I couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah, it was Tommy against Big Slater, Gene, unless I'm saying this wrong, and you tell me if I am, with what was Shane Douglas's uncle's, what was his name, Troy Martin's uncle, or you know who I'm talking about, Gene, that worked in the WWF? He was special referee of Tommy and Slater, I think's match. Dominic.
Oh, DiNucci. I didn't know that was his uncle.
Oh, Dominic.
Yeah, that was Tommy and I think Slater's special guest referee. And, you know, he was really over up in that part of the world.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he was a big star up there. Well, that's cool. And the guys I had a chance to work with would have been when my brother was wrestling Mick Foley, and they was doing all the different extreme type matches. And then in the cage match, I run down and jumped over the cage, and then they had a guy come out and he ripped the door off the cage, and that guy would have been Bam Bam Bigelow. So, I mean, there was Joel, he had a ton of talent that came through the years. Like I said, Tommy and Slater there at the start, and then towards the end, my brother and the rest of them and everything. So, I mean, it's kind of a cool deal, and it's TWA, right, Gene? Yes, sir. TWA, Tri-State Wrestling Alliance, the predecessor, basically, to ECW. And, yeah, Eddie was a big part of those shows. Those matches he had with Mick Foley and some matches he had with Terry Funk got a lot of buzz at the time. I remember being in Mississippi and reading about those in the magazines, what a big deal they were. And so I know Joel's really excited to have you guys there, and he's actually going to be coming on this podcast in the future to not only promote that show, but to talk to you guys about TWA and about, what a big role Eddie played there.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It seems like me and Tommy are going to be in a match against two of the what they call the ECW originals, and we'll see which originals that is. One of them, Shane Douglas, and I'm hearing the name of the other one, but I won't say it just yet, and we'll hold off on that. But, man, it seems like they're putting together a big afternoon and a big night of wrestling there at the 2300 Arena.
Well, I may have to
I'm gonna tell you what,
I got to find my way there. I've got to be there for this, so we're going to figure something out.
Well,
that's a live building for wrestling and the autograph signing, man. I mean, it's just that building, man. It's got so much history in it that it's always great to go back, and the fans they bug wild too. Yeah,
Gene. I was going to say, we need to find get you a way up there. We'll have to rent you a crop duster or something like that.
That's what it's going to take, because old Gene can't afford a plane ticket, so I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to stow me away on a train car or some shit. I don't know, but I got to find a way to get up there. We need to make me the biggest Don or the fattest Don or the last Don or something. Your manager. As Memphis Mafia takes on Team Extreme, franchise Shane Douglas, and a mystery partner. How fun is that? That's old school right there in itself. A damn mystery partner, man. How long has it been since you've had one of those guys across?
Ain't heard that. That's
right. So
Hey, all I have to do, Gene, is get Tommy to say something about politics in the ring, and then Shane Douglas to talk for 90 minutes, so we would have to do much.
That's right.
Hey, I shouldn't have said that. Hey, I shouldn't have said that, because I'll have to call Shane in a week or two and tell him I want him to be on here, because he sent me a text. He said anytime we wanted him, he'd come on here with us.
Well, all right, please, nobody mention politics. That's the last thing the world needs, is another political podcast out there that lasts 6 hours.
I heard that.
Well, all right, guys. Well, if anybody's listening to this, the day it drops, and most people do, we have big numbers on the opening day. It's the day after Thanksgiving, so we hope everybody had a really great Thanksgiving. I hope Doug, Tommy, I hope you guys did as well. And I thought it would be timely for us to talk about, over the years, there's been some really big wrestling cards that took place on Thanksgiving. And, Tommy, you were a mainstay in Georgia Championship Wrestling, and they were famous for their big Thanksgiving events. They'd have those tag team tournaments for years. And I just thought we'd maybe discuss some of those cards, like talk about, what match, you guys were in, and talk about a few of the other matches on the card, and to see what it, when you do these Q&As, you hear names, you hear things that, sparks up memories and stories, and I thought this would be a good way to do some of that, and it would be timely because it was just Thanksgiving. What do you guys think?
Man, that sounds like a winner to me, Gene. Yeah, we had a great Thanksgiving. I know Tommy did too. Me and him have talked about it and everything, and this is a great time of year. I mean, between, the difference in the years is years ago you stayed busy on the road every day. Now a lot of times these last, say, 8-10 years, like around between the week before Thanksgiving and say to Christmas or a week after, we finally get to stay home a little bit. We're used to. We just eat when we could and called it Thanksgiving, and we had Christmas when we could and called it Christmas, whether it was Christmas Day or whatever, because we had, like you're saying, to talk about these Thanksgiving shows, we also had Christmas shows on Christmas Day every year, and we might have one, we might have two. But, man, like I said, it's a great Thanksgiving for myself and Tommy both. And but yeah, I'd love to talk about some of the shows and some of the stuff he pulled up.
And these shows
I'm going to tell you something.
Well, right? Because, I mean, you eat this big meal, you're sitting there and you're bored now, so it's like, hey, let's go to the wrestling,
Well, I don't know if they're bored or not. I think they just want to get out of the house, come watch some doggone wrestling, Gene or Gary, whatever your name is.
Well, I'm saying, we've all ate. That's the event for Thanksgiving. There's no presents. There's nothing else. Like, you eat the food, and it's like, all right, now what? And they're like, well, hey, wrestling's going on. I'm like, oh, hell, we got to go do that, right? So.
Oh, and you can't imagine. I mean, I would get, come to the matches, and you don't know how many plates of food that I would get that where Granny brought me a plate of their food, man. Yeah, that was a good time of eating for me.
Oh yeah, there was always plenty for all of us, Gene. I mean, there was plenty at home. We got to stop by home and eat if we wasn't on the road flying. I mean, if we was driving and everything, we'd get us something at home. But if we wasn't at home too, if we was off somewhere, I mean, just people would come to the shows, which you'd laugh. And these days, people say, "Well, surely y'all didn't eat it or nothing." But believe it or not, we did, didn't we, Tom?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And too, G, you got to realize, and in the days like we're talking about, all your angles still went on, and I mean there was still hot stuff going on all the time. I mean, as far as angle-wise stuff and everything, I mean, still people wanted to come and see it, and I mean it was holidays and everything, but I mean your angle-wise and booking-wise, it went year-round. It didn't stop for Thanksgiving or stop for Christmas.
So first off, we're going to go back to November of 1977, Georgia Championship Wrestling. 11,000 people have packed the Omni in Atlanta. And we're not going to go through the whole card, but we're going to pick out a couple matches here that I find interesting. Opening match on this card in 1977, a guy we've talked about on this show quite a bit, Doug. Jerry Stubbs defeated Randy Savage. Man, what a match that had to have been.
Oh, and you know, Jerry Stubbs, he was a local Georgia boy. I mean, and I guess that's when Randy, you know, that's before he became macho. He just started. I guess he just come out of the minor leagues and was started there in Georgia.
What Gene, was he actually Randy Savage in, or was he Randy Poffo?
Well, they have him listed on here as Randy Savage, but now that may have just been whoever put this together.
No, I think he wrestled as Randy Savage.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I know he did, but in the early when he just started, he started as Randy Poffo, I think, when he first started. That's why I was just asking.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to do a little more digging to see exactly when he crossed over from Poffo to Savage. But there's a good chance that he was wrestling as Poffo at this stage, and the people who posted these results put Savage just so we would know for sure.
Yeah, well, I was just interested. It wasn't. I mean, no big deal. I don't want you to look it up or anything. But oh yeah, that would have been a great. And what was from the card there? And it's like I've always said, and I mean, I think Tommy worked with Jerry probably quite a few times, like I did, and I really thought Jerry Stubbs was really smooth, and you know what Savage went on to make a career and what he done. So I mean, that's you said that was the opening match. That was the opening match.
So. We won't go down the whole cards. We got quite a few cards to cover, but now a couple other matches that are highlighted here. In the fourth match, Tommy Rich defeats David Schultz. How was David Schultz to work with in this era, Tommy?
Oh, David, man, you know, he was crazy. I mean, you get what you see with him. I mean, he's who he says he is. But I didn't ever have no problem with it. David was a good businessman, and it was always a pleasure to watch him, wrestling him. I mean, and I'm sure it was a pleasure to watch him because you, like me, you didn't know where he was coming from. You know, David, you know, he's a different kind of cat. But like I said, I always enjoyed wrestling David. He could get that heat too. He could make him folks mad.
Hey everybody, Gene Jackson here, inviting you to check out the Retro Wrestling Review, where each week I'm joined by some great co-hosts who help me review classic episodes of USWA Championship Wrestling, and right now we are doing week-by-week reviews of 1993. But we don't just do reviews, sometimes we get a chance to interview some of the people who were there and lived it, plus do watch-alongs. It's a lot of fun, so check out new episodes that drop every Wednesday at WrestleCopia.com. And to find links to everything associated to the podcast, you can go to uswapodcast.com.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here, curator of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, inviting you guys to listen to many of the programs here as part of the WrestleCopia brand, including, but not limited to, the Wrestling Memory Grenade, currently covering the 1988 and the WWF project. You can also listen to the Regional Wrestling Podcast, where we talk the territories, whether it's Jamie Ward with Georgia 81, Roman Gomez with the UWF in 1986, or Gene Jackson covering Memphis in 85. 3 projects going on right now over there at Regional Wrestling. You can also listen to the Wrestling Stoop with the legend himself, Bob Roop. Bob goes back in time each and every week, covering not just his career, but countless stories and interactions with hundreds of wrestling names spanning his 2 decades in the business. But that's not all. You can also check out the Pro Wrestling Academy with the professor of Puroresu, Mr. Dan Ginnity. Dan and I go back in time and cover the history of Japanese professional wrestling in the English language. And you can listen to all of those shows and more, all part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, located over at WrestleCopia.com. That's WrestleCopia.com, and anywhere your podcast streaming needs are met, from Apple to Spotify, Pocket Cast, and beyond. And while you're at it, why not subscribe to our social media guys for all the latest goings on here at the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Plus, I'm constantly adding old school video clips and pictures from throughout wrestling history. You can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter, at Wrestling Grenade. That's at RASSLIN Grenade. Also, follow and like me, Facebook.com/Wrestling Grenade. And why not subscribe to YouTube.com/Wrestling Grenade. So if you're looking to support that next up-and-coming podcast brand, please consider making it WrestleCopia.
So another interesting tag match on this card. Dick Slater and Mr. Wrestling 2 defeated Ole Anderson and Stan Hansen.
I bet that was an interesting match, wasn't it, Tommy?
Yeah. But I mean, because Dickie and Wrestling too had wrestled each other. You know, they had their whole little deal they did, and then Dickie they teamed up. Of course, Stan and Ole, that was a hot tag team too. So that I don't remember the match. I mean exactly, but I know it had to be a heck of a match.
Somebody, you got some tough guys in the ring and all that.
And then in the semi-main, you got the Big Cat, Ernie Ladd, and Thunderbolt Patterson defeating Pac Song and the Sheik. So that had to be something to see. The Sheik.
Yeah, that's a classic there. Ernie Ladd, I can always remember. Yeah, you egg-sucking dog, I'll beat you, dirty white socks. I remember cutting promo, and I can remember that as plain as day. I'll beat your dirty white socks off, you egg-sucking dog.
and you know, one of the funny things, Gene, is that, you know, everybody's done the deal. Like Eddie did with Lawler, Eddie being the king, and a lot of people's done it and everything. But one of the funny things that I remember, and it wasn't here, but it was in Louisiana, was Ernie Ladd coming out wearing a crown. But, you know, one of the crowns just like Lawler's. But I will never forget that as far as, I mean, just in my head, you know how, you know, damn, Ernie was what, Tommy, 6'7", 6'8", 6'9"?
6'9", standing up, I bet.
Hey, he's a big guy, Gene, intimidating, and like Tommy said, he could cut a promo, and I mean, man, there's nobody not believe. I mean, everybody believes.
Those boys he had too. Yeah.
And Gene, he played pro ball too, right?
Yeah, he did. He was quite the athlete before he made his way into professional wrestling. And so I'm assuming here they defeated Pac Song and the Sheik. I'm assuming Pac Song probably took the fall here. Did you ever work with the Sheik, Tommy?
Are you talking about the original Sheik?
Yeah, this is the original Sheik. This has been 77.
Eddie Parker. Yeah, I wrestled him a couple of times. Matter of fact, Parkersburg, West Virginia, I flew in, and it was a National Guard Armory, and that's when Eddie was, you know, the Sheik was, the territory wasn't doing as good, and Mr. Barnett sent me up there. Anyway, it was sold out on the inside and sold out on the outside. I mean, it was as many people outside as inside. And he just was, I was scared to death. I was about 18 or 19 maybe when I went up to Parkersburg. I didn't know nobody there. These folks picked me up in a old hippie van, and folk coming out around it and stuff. I thought, oh my goodness. But yeah, we had a real good match. And just, he was real nice to me, you know, and even like Sabu, I mean, it's his uncle. And when I went to ECW, you know, Sabu told me that he always spoke nice of me. Me and Sabu got along, you know, when I first went up there. Sabu's one of the folks, you know, you always find somebody you know, and he wasn't no stranger.
Well, that's cool. The Sheik's a fascinating guy. Brian R. Solomon wrote a really interesting book about the Sheik's life and career, and you know, if anybody gets a chance to read it, it's highly recommended. So, So we're not going to go through every year, but we are going to jump ahead to the next year, 1978, Georgia Championship Wrestling, back in the Omni. We packed another 5,500 people in here. It's 16,500 people, and this year we're having a Georgia Tag Team Title Tournament. Tommy, you're teaming up with Rick Martel.
Hey, Gene. Mm-hmm. You said 78, right?
Yes, sir.
I was 9. How old was you?
I was 1. I was born in July of 77.
I don't think you got the wrong date. I don't think I was about 10, but damn.
Hey, I was going to say, on that last one he said, Tommy, I think I was 7, which I don't get off the beat.
So I was 1. Doug was 8. Tommy was like 10 here, teaming up with Rick Martel. They defeated Alpha and Sika, which was impressive at that age.
Rick, hey, I tell you what, though, Rick, we teamed up there for a little bit there in Georgia, and he's another fellow that just always was very nice. I mean, and, you know, guys talk about guys, but I don't know, I just stayed to myself, but everybody that I did business with, I mean, I always got along, never had no problems. I'm pretty lucky there, too, because I know sometimes some did.
But then again, Gene, see, I think all that goes back to Tommy listening and being a smart guy, keeping his mouth shut, listening to guys. Do you not think, Tommy, I mean, respect. I think the guys saw that Tommy had respect for him, and Tommy understood that, you know, what kills me about a lot of guys, good guys, babyface, whatever you want to call them, is, I mean, what do you think the heels are going to make you look like if they don't respect you and don't like you? Do you think they're going to make you look good? Absolutely not. And I mean, Tommy kept his mouth shut and was respectful to all of them. So how do you think all those guys wanted to make Tommy look?
Right.
And that is true. You know, Chief Wahoo McDaniels, he told me one time, he said, Tommy, he said, I'm like a damn, don't none of these baby faces like you. He said, you make sure them heels like you, because that's where your money's at. Yeah, Wahoo told me that a long time ago. But I was a kid when I broke into business. It was always yes or no, sir, anyway, because I was talking to adults, you know. So it was, I was just like it's yes or no, sir. I mean, very respectful. But I was brought up that way just like Dougie. I mean, you know, and then you get guys, I mean, some guys, they want to tell you everything and don't know nothing. I was working with guys that been there and done it and was helping me do it. So why should I even chime in, you know? I mean, if they ever ask me, did I have any idea, I might have a little idea. But, you know, 99%, I just kept my mouth shut and went out and listened and had a good, you know, had a hell of a match.
Absolutely. That's the way to do it. And it's clearly has served you well, Tommy. So we're going to run through I'm fascinated by this tournament, so we're going to run through all these matches. It's not a lot of them, but I'll just kind of blow through them. But if you hear a result you find interesting or a name you want to comment on, by all means, please stop me. Second match of the first round, the Masked Assassin and the Masked Superstar defeated Bugsy McGraw and Rufus R. Jones by disqualification.
The Freight Train?
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's him, man. Me and Tommy, I talked about Rufus R. and a lot of people don't remember. Like my brother used, I think it was Burhead after he up 10 years, like during the Continental days. Do you remember on TV Burhead Jones being on TV, Gene?
Yeah, I do. I remember that angle they did with.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, like, and Rufus R. and Burhead, but I mean, man, they was both over. Which I mean, like I said, I won't talk or we won't get through all this stuff, but it's funny you saying that because I talked to Tommy about them guys and them being over and everything. How he always had a lot of respect for them.
But no, man, by all means, anything that comes up, please do talk about it because I mean we'll get through a couple of these cards, but there's plenty of Thanksgivings ahead that we can do more of these. So we ain't trying to blow through all the different cards.
I was saying I'm a big fan. You said Super Destroyer and the Masked Assassin. Tommy, would that have been Jody Hamilton or who would that have been?
I don't know. I mean, I remember Super Destroyer. I mean, that's the only one I ever knew. That, I mean, of course, we had a couple that did that, but I mean, I think it would be Jody if that's who I would think it would be.
And who would the Super Destroyer have been, Gene?
That would have been.
This was Superstar. This was Bill Eadie.
Also,
they've been, yeah. See, they teamed up. That's where you threw me. That was Super Destroyer. That was Scott Irwin.
Okay, I thought that was right. Okay.
Yeah, Bill Irwin's brother.
Right.
So then in the next match, we were talking about these guys earlier. Jack and Jerry Briscoe defeated King Kong, Mosca, and Pak Song. And it's going to be interesting to see how this tournament proceeds with the Briscoe brothers, because in the next match, the Funk brothers, Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk, defeated Haystacks Calhoun and Klondike Bill. What a team that is.
Hey, and I hate to butt in on you, but I mean, just some of the names you've already mentioned. I mean, now that was a thing. That was a card of cards there. You know, I mean, you already named off some just legends. I mean, and you know, and it's still a bunch to go, like you said.
Oh, Gene, that could have been split up in two or three different towns and been main events in it.
Absolutely, and that's why you can see why the card. I mean, the matches the crowds keep jumping up each year because they're raising the stakes and they're just loading these Thanksgiving cards up more and more as we go along. The next match in the tournament, Big Cat Ernie Ladd and Stan Hansen defeated Mr. Wrestling 1 and Mr. Wrestling 2.
You ain't kidding.
I'd have hated to been Mr. Wrestling 2, number 1.
That had to be a rough night.
Hands full, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, you knew you'd been to the office after that one.
So in the next round, the Funk brothers defeated Rick Martel and Tommy Rich. Put you guys out of the tournament, unfortunately. Do you remember anything about that match, or just in general, how was it working the Funk brothers back in this time frame?
I wrestled Terry. I never did wrestle Dory. I never wrestled him. I wrestled Terry a couple of times in singles. I wrestled him in ECW, and then because he was always babyface too when he come to Georgia. So I never wrestled Terry a whole lot. I teamed up with him a couple of times.
But you said the Briscoes, right, Gene?
No, it was this. Well, this says, I mean, they may be mistaken. This says the Funk brothers, Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk defeated Rick Martel and Tommy Rich, because the Briscoes are in the next match.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Oh, okay. Well, in that tournament we might have wrestled them. Yeah, because I wrestled them a couple of times. God, you thought y'all was 1-9 or whatever y'all was. That's a long time ago. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
No, you're good. So
hey, I'm going to tell you, just seeing and watching those Jerry and Jack. I mean, like I said, they had great wrestling matches, but like Jerry said on here, I mean, they could wrestle. I mean, they was actually, wrestling champions, amateur. I mean, they could do what they wanted, right, Tom?
Yeah, they could tie you up in a knot, make you look like a pret. I mean, but they never did. I never seen them get, I'm sure they did, because plus back then there was always somebody wanting to play a little bit anyway, so they get in there and wrestle around some, just feel a little tough. I never did deal with none of that. I knew they'd tie me up in a knot.
I got you.
So then we got, and I don't think they have his match listed in order right or something. Anyway, we got Dick Slater and Dusty Rhodes defeating Ernie Ladd and Stan Hansen, putting them out of the tournament.
Well, that'd have been a foursome for sure.
The Funk brothers defeating Dick Slater and Dusty Rhodes in the semifinals. And then in the finals, when it came down to at the end of the night, I mean, you couldn't pick a better title match to end the night. The Funk brothers defeated the Briscoe brothers in the finals to become the Georgia Tag Team Champions.
Is that right? No, you couldn't have topped it out no better.
I mean, you couldn't go wrong with that lineup anywhere in the world.
Now, I said we weren't going to go in order, but we're gonna hit 79 real quick, just because this main event, or semi-main event, I should say, I want to ask Tommy about and see if he remembers it. But we're going to hit upon a couple of other matches. There's another Georgia Tag Team title tournament. Apparently, the Georgia Tag Team titles always seem to get vacated around Thanksgiving by some stroke of luck or circumstance, I suppose. Funny how that worked out. But one interesting match I see here as a part of the tournament, Austin Idol and the Masked Superstar with Bobby Heenan defeated Stan Hansen and Wahoo McNeil.
Is that right? That had to be a match, too. Yeah. God, Wahoo, man, you talk about a crazy cat. He was, hey, if he didn't like you, he didn't like you. But if he liked you, of course, sometimes you think he didn't even like you if he liked you. I don't know. But, yeah, that had to be a heck of a match.
I feel like Idol probably had Superstar in for a lot of that one because you didn't get a break in that match. Whether you had Hanson or McDaniel, it was going to be a tough night either way. So then another tournament match, the Briscoe brothers defeated Buzz Sawyer and Ricky Fields.
He's from down in your neck of the woods. The Fields, Dougie, you probably know more about it than I do, Dougie, but they owned Continental or something?
Yeah, I was trying to think of what the
what Continental back then.
Yeah, I was trying to think of his name. The other one Continental back then in Fields.
Ricky and Lee Fields. I think it was Lee Fields.
Lee. That's it. It was Lee Fields. But was that Ricky? Was that his son or something, Tom?
Yeah, I think so. Lee was the older one.
Right. But
yes.
No, that's all I was fixing to ask Gene. I was going to ask him what did we know about that Ricky. I wasn't sure about that. But the Lee Fields, I remember hearing his name down when I was in Continental when they talked about the history of the Fullers and Welches and all that. They, go back to that Lee.
It says Ricky reffed from 1964 to 75, and he only wrestled from 75 to 8. So the finals of the Georgia Tag Team Title Tournament. Well, this is fun. So the finals is Austin Idol and the Masked Superstar with Bobby Heenan defeated the Briscoe brothers to win the Georgia Tag Team title. So, man, the Briscoe brothers keep coming up short in these title matches.
I got you. Well, they're coming up short because it's drawing a lot of money, because if they had points in the territory, I guarantee business was good.
That's right. So, Bobby Heenan has led Austin Idol and the Masked Superstar to the Georgia Tag Team titles. But in the semi-main event, he had to go in for a loser leaves town steel cage match against our buddy Tommy Wildfire Rich. And Tommy, you defeated Bobby Heenan in this steel cage match. He had to leave town. Tell us a little bit about working with Bobby Heenan.
Oh, Bobby, he was a good friend. Bobby was just nice. He helped me a lot. Of course, he had back at one time, he had his Blackjack Lanza, which was another good talent that I got to wrestle with. Bobby, he was a good mouthpiece to a lot of people. Kabuki, you name him. Man, but anyway, I don't remember how we got to the loser leave town deal, but Bobby, just a heck of a nice person. Never heard him say a bad word.
And you know what? Bobby just had that look, and Bobby could get heat, right, Tommy?
Yeah.
He could get heat, even like when he was with, I think, Bockwinkel there for a while.
That's right.
Bockwinkel didn't need a mouthpiece, but Bobby was a character, and it went along with Bockwinkel. And there were so many different places like AWA, Georgia Championship, WWF, all the different. Bobby went everywhere, and I think he done really well everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, shoot, he was out in Texas too. I think Bobby went. Like they said, he went everywhere.
He was super talented. Promos, he was great. He's one of the few, if you watch back, Gene, what's some of as a manager, I think he was the best bump taking manager ever. He'd take better bumps than a lot of the boys would. And he knew everything, right, Tommy? He knew chemistry. He was so freaking good. And Bobby was a worker. I shouldn't have said that about being a manager, because he was a worker first, but he was so freaking good. And he had that look, like I'll tell people, like to me, when you look at world champions, like to me, I think of like a Bockwinkel, looking wise is what you think of. And Bobby was like, when he was right beside his side, he had that same look, like a world champ.
Absolutely. That's when I got to that result, that stood out to me. And I'm like, oh wow, I've got to ask Tommy about working in a cage with Bobby Heenan on that big card. So that's
yeah. I don't know how we come up into that one, but yeah, I remember.
And you got to realize, Gene, through them, which I'm sure you've done looked at it, but you can pull up the freaking the numbers on those gates, and during them years, they're crazy numbers. Things was hot, and you can tell the booking, and even like the tournaments, I mean, you can kind of do what you want with the guys, but when you got good talent, you're going to wind up having good talent against good talent. But I mean, man, Tommy and them did some super crazy business at that Omni.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It's like you say, those numbers are crazy, and to think, the kind of numbers, if you just take the crowds they drew and the money they took in on just Thanksgiving and Christmas each year, was probably more than some territories would make, in 6 months, or in some cases maybe throughout the year. But so the time's flying by, guys. So we're going to break away from the 70s and some of Tommy's, and we're gonna jump over here and look at a couple of Doug's Thanksgiving shows before we run out of time. And we're going to go to 1997, Music City Wrestling, Nashville, Tennessee. Here's a couple of the matches on the card. We've got Debbie Combs defeated Sherry Martell. Adrian Street defeated Frenchie Riviera by disqualification. Stephen Dunn took on the guy who's normally his tag team partner, Rex King, defeated him by disqualification in a singles match. North American title match, Terry Golden defeated the Colorado Kid for the Music City or North American title. And in the main event, in a scaffold match, we talked about these in that Q&A recently, Billy Travis defeated Doug Gilbert in a scaffold match on Thanksgiving of all days. Doug, what a way to spend your Thanksgiving.
You ain't kidding about 20 foot up in the air at the Nashville fairgrounds. But no, I actually do remember that. I remember working a program with Billy and everything. Man, Billy was a great guy. He was always nice to me. Everybody's got different stories, but Billy was always really cool to me and everything. He's just to me, I mean, like me and Tommy, a country boy, he's just from Kentucky and everything, but Billy was always super nice to me. And that was a cool run there in Nashville. And they'd run the territory that Music City Wrestling would run all around Nashville, like from Nashville, say, to the river, which, I mean, the river, they'd run about 100 miles each direction from Nashville and everything. And, I mean, old Bert Prentice was a old-time Southern promoter, and, I mean, he promoted hard, and me and Tommy both worked for him. Tommy, I worked for him a lot around here from Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, Arkansas, but Tommy's worked for him off in, shoot, who knows where, which Tommy could tell you, but, I mean, he'd go anywhere he'd go, he'd set up shop. And
he would go, yeah.
He'd set up shop in about a week or two from whenever he would get wherever he was going, Tommy, and he would run about anywhere in the country, wouldn't he?
Yeah, Bert, I tell you. And there again, I mean, it's always nice to me. Some people tell you one thing, some will tell you another. But Bert was always nice to me. I mean, he ran out in South Dakota, just anywhere, like Dougie said. I mean, just about anywhere he decided he wanted to go, and he'd run for a little while, and then he'd move on. And,
I mean, you can see the thing Bert was so smart about. He'd use that Superstation TV that Tommy and Buzz was so hot about there. He'd go to, like, different states, like Tommy'd say, and he'd bring Tommy and Buzz in, and they'd do about 3 or 4 shows and shoot them shows that sell out and do great business, and all of them would make a lot of money.
Yeah, Bert was out to promote.
I really think Bert was like one of the last of the old school promoters, I mean, as far as I know, guys, Bert made a living promoting wrestling right up until he passed away, right? I mean, he never did anything else.
Yeah, he did. He lived right here, not 20 minutes from me. I'd stop by him. I mean, but like I'm saying, I mean, I had a good relationship with him, and, you hear people, I mean, like Tommy said, say different stories, but, man, whatever he told me, he was always good for, and, I mean, that's what I go by, how somebody is to me, and, I mean, he was always straight up with Tommy, and, I mean, he's always good to us, and he was just, to me, he was a good fellow.
I mean, I've always been a firm believer of I treat people – everybody on earth can hate somebody, but if they're good to me and they've treated me well, then, I've got no problem with them. I'm their friend. And I know you guys did some big shows for Bert and, towards the end of his time promoting and towards the end of his life, over there doing Angle Steel with Lawler, doing cage matches and some of that stuff with Matt Riviera and everything. So, and that's all out there on the internet. If folks want to go out there and look it up, you can still check that.
Hey, Gene, you're going to have to look this up for me. Somewhere in that Music City stuff, my wife pulled a picture up the other day and showed it to me, and it was me and Tommy actually wrestling each other, and it looked like she said, I think you're about to kill Tommy in this picture. And I said, what are you talking about? And she showed me the picture, and Tommy looked like he was about to bleed to death. There was blood from his top of his head to his toes. And I thought, I remember a whole lot of this. And I remember one thing that we did, that Bert wanted to do an angle one time, and he wanted to bring Buddy in with Tommy, and he did. And that's when he had me as a babyface. I think somebody was my partner. I think it was me and somebody against Tommy and Buddy, and I think that's when this had to be. But it's strange when you're just going through boxes of pictures and you run across something like that. And I thought, where is this from? And I thought that's some of the Music City Wrestling stuff, but I don't quite remember the angle that it was.
Dang, I don't remember that either.
I'll do some
but I've got the picture. But hey, that card was cool. As far as what about Adrian Street, Tommy being on it?
Yeah, Adrian, Linda, Miss Linda. Yeah,
Miss Linda.
Miss Linda. That Terry Lynn taught me that.
Yes, that was Adrian's wife, right, Tommy?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she. I mean, they was. Yeah, boy, and I tell you what, I guess they had it because they was together 24/7. I mean, they wrestled. That's right. They were married too. So. Yeah, he was, and they were good. Talking about great people, they were great people too.
You know, a lot of people don't give this lady the respect. I think she is our Cherry Martell. You said was on that show, right, Gene?
Yes, she wrestled Debbie Combs on that card.
That's blast from the past, ain't it, Tommy?
Yes, sir. Cherry Martell. That Debbie too. I always got along with both of them. I knew Cherry a little bit better. I think. I mean. It's always nice.
Yeah. Now, you know that Debbie Combs is a bounty hunter now, right, Gene? So you better watch her, those other two guys that, on that A-list list of yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so as I call this from Kentucky right now, I'm definitely not anywhere in Alabama, Miss Combs, so don't come looking.
There you go.
So one more card from 1996. This is an IWA Mid-South card on a Thanksgiving 11/28/96 in Louisville, Kentucky at the Derby Sports Arena. This is called IWA Mid-South Blood Feast 1996. In the main event, in a Four Corners of Pain match, Ian Rotten defeated Madman Pondo. But in the semi-main event, in a Falls Count Anywhere match on Thanksgiving, Dangerous Doug Gilbert pinned Tommy Wildfire Rich in 9 minutes and 35 seconds.
We did a few more times than I thought we did.
Tommy must have bet me we wasn't going to go 10 minutes. But what did you say? It was just me against Tommy?
It was you against Tommy in a Falls Count Anywhere match. But since this thing was an IWA Mid-South show, and it was called Blood Feast, I imagine Tommy probably bled a little bit in this match too, I would imagine.
It was for Ian Rotten. I'm sure I did, or Axel Rotten, whatever his name.
I was fixing to say we both.
That was for about the first match to the last you did that, yeah.
I was fixing to say we both probably did, but I guarantee you every video that we ever worked is out there on it somewhere, so I'm sure we could probably find it, Gene. Or I'm sure you could.
Oh, yeah. I may have it somewhere for that matter. I've got some of that old IWA Mid-South. So not to turn this into a big thing, and this may be one of those times where you guys just say, I'd rather say nothing than whatever. But there's a lot of opinions out there about Ian Rotten, a lot of stories, good, bad, indifferent. Overall, and again, kind of like what we said about Bert, as far as your dealings with this guy, how were your dealings with Ian Rotten?
Tommy, you want to go first?
Well, he always paid us our money, I mean, was I a fan? I mean, we didn't go out and eat together, nothing.
Right.
I mean, but I mean, he always did what he said he was going to do, and there again, I mean, that's like you said earlier. He treat people the way you want to be treated. He never treated me, he's always treated me like I want to be treated, and I treated him the same respect. So, and like I said, the main thing is he always paid us our money, So. Yeah,
well, you know what? I always got along fine with Ian. He's said a few things over the years, but shoot, who everybody does. I was scrolling through my phone. I was going to send you a picture, Gene, which I had with you. Probably said, "Why didn't you send me this for?" But it's a picture somebody sent me of me Ian, and Axel, and for some other time. But anyway, I always got along fine with him. At the end, like when I quit working for him, he didn't like it too much. But I mean, it was me and Tommy went up there and worked a bunch for him. When the USWA was shut down, once it was sold, I'd go up there like every other. I think it's Thursday run on. I was going to say Tuesday, but I think it was Thursday maybe he run on and work for him. And he done good business. But I mean, like a lot of people told me when the promotion was sold and it was closed and everything, they was trying to tell everybody don't go and don't make them credible. They didn't want us to make anybody else credible. And I thought, well, if you're not going to be running there, and are you going to pay me? And that's what I wound up telling them. I said, you going to pay me $1,000 a week or something to not work for people? And then they said, well, you don't have to. I said, no, I don't have to. I said, but when I want to fill dates in, when I'm not in Japan, when I'm around here, and I like Louisville and everything, I like to go up there. And I think it really helped myself, Tommy. There's a few of us that really helped them. And I mean, I think it helped get the crowd that we drew over to the crowd that they drew. But the good thing, he would bring in some good guys, and it gives the Louisville fan base option to see some different guys and everything, and they get to see us also. So I thought it was a positive deal. Like I said, over the years, he's said a few things, and but everybody says things and stuff in this business.
Oh yeah. IWA Mid-South. I talked to American kickboxer the other night, Izzy High. Interviewed him for the YouTube show, and he flat didn't want to talk about Ian at all. That's kind of how he came up. But we talked about a lot of people. It was a good mix of guys like you guys who were stars, and then young guys who end up going on to be big stars, and some that are even on TV now. So, taking Ian, people's personal opinions and thoughts of Ian out of the mix, IWA Mid-South at least served a purpose for the business, I think, overall. I mean, it contributed some bad stuff, but I think overall it contributed more good stuff than bad.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and I think Tommy would kind of go along with this. You want to hear people say, well, Ian didn't do this guy right or didn't do that guy right. Well, shoot, Gene, how many people do you hear in the business that say, I mean, some of your most popular people in the world, oh, they didn't do me right, or they didn't do this one right. It's not, man, we're all grown men. I mean, everything's not going to go your way every time, but I'd like to say me and Tommy are business guys just like the rest of the people are. But now, you could say whether something is done, maybe we wouldn't say it was right, but is it our call to say it's right or wrong? You know what I mean? I mean, as far as I know what I want to do myself to make my stuff right, and I know what Tommy will do to make his stuff right, but I mean, we're not all the same. So, I mean, if John, which John is Ian, if he'd done something a little different than we would do, that's on him. That's not on us. But I mean, as far as the product and everything, what was cool about would get heat up there was like Tommy was talking about, like the people up north and them being hot at Tommy and them for doing the FBI gimmick. Like the other people would get heat with them. We'd get heat in Louisville for me going to the ring, working our style in Louisville, just because their bunch wanted to do all the hardcore stuff. Well, to me, it was just as easy going out there. And, I'd be a little bit stiffer with them and everything, but I would wrestle. And it would get them madder than anything that I wouldn't do like the rest of the guys. Right. And to me, that's working people.
Guys, it's been another fun one, and we got through a few cards, but, man, we've got plenty more Thanksgiving shows to talk about in the future, and I don't know, I thought this was pretty fun. We may do something like this around Christmas time with some of the Christmas shows if you guys want.
That sounds like a plan to me.
And it sounds like a winner, Gene. This has been real cool, and thanks for getting our stuff together for me and Tommy, and I hope you had a big Thanksgiving, and I know me and Tommy did and everything, and hey, we'll talk there. We appreciate everybody. They got to be giving their, Gene, tell me what it is again. They got to be writing their comments in and everything, right?
Yeah, please rate and review us on whatever podcast platform that you listen to us on. Please give us a 5-star rating, give us a review, And just help spread the word. Let people know we're doing this over here. It's growing every day. Send in your questions. You can send them in on Facebook, or you can email them to DougGilbertPodcast@Outlook.com. And you can be a part of one of these big Q&A episodes like we had recently that people were so fond of.
And that's what I was saying. If you have any question about anything that Gene is asking me and Tommy, or anything that he's not asking me and Tommy, if it goes back to Georgia Championship Wrestling, if it goes back to WCW, if it goes back to WWF, USWA, ECW, Japan, IWA, Wing, any of that. I mean, anything you've got to ask, I mean, don't hesitate to send the stuff into Gene, and he will ask us. And, man, we will give you the best answer we can give you. Right, Tommy?
Yes, sir. Hey, and just any questions. Hey, send them reviews in, ask the questions. And there again, we had great Thanksgiving. We hope everybody out there did too. I mean, you know, Thanksgiving's time to get with your family. So hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Look forward to the next show.
You ain't kidding. And listen, Gene, peace. We're out.
Before we get out of here, I just want to take a moment to remind everyone, if you have an upcoming wrestling show, autograph signing, collector show, Comic-Con, or any event or booking that you would like to inquire about the services of Dangerous Doug Gilbert and or Tommy Wildfire Rich, just send us an email at DougGilbertPodcast@Outlook.com, and someone will get back to you as soon as possible to get more information on your event and do the best we can to make that happen. Also, if you are interested in advertising your event, your business, your product to the listeners of Dangerous Conversations, as well as to promote your event, business, or product across all our social media platforms, you can send that inquiry to DougGilbertPodcast@Outlook.com. We would love to work together with you to get that out there to the listeners of Dangerous Conversations. Remember to check out DougGilbertPodcast.com. There you can find links to all things related to this podcast, as well as Doug and Tommy themselves. You'll find a link to the Dangerous Conversations Facebook page and the Dangerous Conversations Twitter, now known as X. And we're always posting content daily, involving the Gilbert family, Tommy Rich, all sorts of things from their career. We got magazine articles, videos, pictures, you name it. We're posting new content every single day. Make sure you follow so you don't miss out on any of that. Plus, you can follow Doug and Tommy's personal Facebook pages on there. Dangerous Doug Gilbert. You can search that on Facebook. You can also search Tommy Wildfire Rich. They both have Facebook pages. And Doug does have an X page as well, and you can follow them there. But if you really want to help support, you can go to the Gilbert Family Pro Wrestling Tees store, which there's a link to there on the DougGilbertPodcast.com, and you can find T-shirts of Doug, Eddie, and their famous father, Tommy Gilbert, as well. Also, Tommy Rich is going to be having some T-shirts coming up very soon. Follow him on Facebook. We'll be talking about him here. But look for some cool new Tommy Wildfire Rich T-shirts coming out soon that you can partake in as well. Also, if you've enjoyed the show, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on the platform of your choice. It would really help us in building up the podcast for the future. Plus, it helps us know what you like, what you don't like, where we need to take this podcast moving forward. Also, if you want to see a whole bunch of matches, promos, and angles, a lot of the ones that you're going to hear us talk about on this very podcast, you can go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@RetroWrestlingArchive. Of course, it's linked right there at DougGilbertPodcast.com, and you will find a ton of matches featuring Eddie Gilbert, Tommy Gilbert, Doug Gilbert, Tommy Wildfire Rich. There's playlists of all them that feature hundreds of matches of each of them. So make sure you go check that out. And not just of them, there are thousands, literally, at this point, of videos from wrestling from across the territory days, you name it. If we don't have the video uploaded to our channel, we at least have organized you a playlist of just about every territory, every show that's out there. You can find it in one convenient location there on YouTube at the Retro Wrestling Archive. Plus, don't forget, you can find all things related to my popular Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast at uswapodcast.com. And last but certainly not least, we are proud to be a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Go on over to WrestleCopia.com to check out all the great pro wrestling related podcasts and various content that our friend Ray Russell provides you. You'll be glad you did. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week for another episode of Dangerous Conversations with Dangerous Doug Gilbert and Tommy Wildfire Rich.
In the heart of Tennessee, born with pride, Doug and Tommy taking rings in stride. Memphis legends never backing down, wrestling warriors, they wear the crown. You scurry away, glory in their veins, fighting legends breaking chains. In the squared circle they made their name, podcast champions, it's their claim to fame. On the mic they rode, on the map they soared, dangerous conversations, plans for you know. Podcast kings ruling the waves, Memphis wrestling raising the stage. From title belts to Hall of Fame, Doug and Tommy carved the name, fists of fury and hearts of gold. Every story, every fight retold, tales of glory, laughter, cry. Tennessee warriors with hearts open wide. In the ring or on the air, legends living without a care. On the mic they roar, on the mat they soar, dangerous conversations.